everybody, and welcome to Final Play Sports Wrap. I'm your host, Pete Lubar, and today we're talking Big 12 basketball. There are 5 games left in the season, 2 weeks, and the Big 12 is crazy right now. There's a whole lot of things going on, both good and bad in the Big 12, but most importantly, the top of the standings is very close and should be an exciting finish. Arizona last week lost back-to-back games, albeit to Kansas and Texas Tech. So the top seed on Monday morning was Houston, who was 11-1. They had won 6 games in a row. They were ranked second in the nation, and they led the conference, 11-1. However, they traveled to number 6 ranked Iowa State Monday night and promptly lost a thriller, 70-67. Meanwhile, Arizona took care of business against BYU on Wednesday night to move back into a tie with Houston, now both at 11-2. Well, those two lead the conference. Only a game back is Iowa State at 10-3, and a very good Kansas team who is also 10-3 at this point. There are 6 ranked teams in the Big 12 right now. Houston is ranked number 2. They are 23-3, 11-2 in conference. Arizona is number 4. They are 24-2. They are 11-2 in conference. Iowa State, 23-3. They are 10-3 in conference. Number 8, Kansas, 20-6, 10-3 in conference. So having 4 teams in the top 10 in the country, in my mind, puts the Big 12 as the best team in college basketball. You can argue for the Big 10, but I sure like my chances with the Big 12 this year. Texas NCAA tournament with 2 weeks to go, including UCF and TCU, according to Lenardi. TCU lost last week to UCF. West Virginia is still hanging around the bubble, but had a huge loss at home Wednesday night to bottom feeder Utah. The big news this week, however, was the injury to JT Toppin of Texas Tech. He was lost to the season with an ACL in a damaging loss to Arizona State on Tuesday in Tempe. The reigning Big 12 Player of the Year was having another MVP-type season for the Red Raiders. In fact, last week, Calvin Sampson, coach of Houston, said he thought Toppin was the best player in the league by far. So this is huge news for the Red Raiders and is seriously damaging to their national title hopes. In their 5 remaining games, they faced both Iowa State and BYU on the road and could potentially lose both games, which will likely drop them from a current 3 seed to a 5 or 6 seed in the NCAA tournament. The other big injury news this week was the loss of BYU guard Richie Saunders for the season with an ACL as well. Saunders was having a terrific season, contributing 18 points per game. BYU lost to Arizona in Arizona last night. BYU with the loss will likely drop out of the top 25, and the last few games were brutal, starting with Iowa State this weekend. They also have a game against UCF. They play at West Virginia and against Texas Tech. They could easily lose 2 to 3 more games before Selection Sunday. In other Big 12 news, Kansas State fired head coach Jerome Tang last week as the Wildcats fell to 1-11 in conference. They claim that the firing for Tang was claimed for cause because Tang yelled at KSU players and told them they didn't deserve to wear the uniform. Previously, had stripped their names of the uniforms. However, when you're 1-11, something has to change, and firing the coach 2 years after a Sweet 16 season seemed like the right thing to do. The K-State Wildcats promptly went out and beat Baylor last night. Speaking of Baylor, what in the world has happened to Baylor basketball? I'm pretty sure Scott Drew has not forgot how to coach and has forgotten more basketball than the rest of us ever learned. They seem to attract talent. They have NIL money, but they're now 3-10 in conference, 13-13 overall, just a mere 5 years from a national championship. They are terrible on defense this year, and with a small team are having a tough time rebounding. And though they spend a lot on NIL, the bets there did not pay off. Look for another entire roster build this offseason. Is Tad Boyle's job in jeopardy? The CU Buffs are 4-9, 4-12 overall, and have simply not been competitive in 2 years in the league. They are 7-26 in the last 2 years, and that is not good enough for CU basketball. Here are the current Big 12 standings with 2 weeks to go. As you can see, Arizona and Houston are tied at 11-2. Iowa State and Kansas just 1 game behind. So a lot to be determined there. Texas Tech now 9-4, but I think in jeopardy of falling further behind. BYU, UCF, and West Virginia all at 7-6. And then you can see the rest of the group that falls behind. Of games of note this week, Arizona travels to Houston with first place on the line. Iowa State travels to BYU. West Virginia travels to TCU in what could be an NCAA bid elimination game for one of those teams. On Monday, depending on the outcome of the Arizona-Houston game, which I think Houston might win, on Monday, Houston travels to KU, which then might be a play for first place in the conference. And then on Tuesday, UCF travels to BYU, which if UCF loses, that may move them out of the NCAA tournament. And so a lot of big games coming up. That is it for me. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please subscribe to my YouTube page. And I hope you have a great day, everyone. I sure appreciate you. Thanks. Bye.